Hi there, welcome to the Handmade Happiness podcast. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Thomas.
And welcome in. It's been another busy day. I feel like we say that every time.
It's always busy.
Always a busy day around here.
Yeah, it is. I didn't get my hair cut today.
Part of what we'll talk about in our episode today. But before we get into our episode, just talk about a few of the things that we have been up to today.
Status update.
Yeah, so I was shooting a video today. You can go check it out on our YouTube channel. Just kind of showing people the garden. I harvested the rest of our root vegetables. Well, the ones that were up in the front.
Carrots.
I harvested like the rest of the carrots, radishes, beets. Because I need that space for like green beans. It's time to put some other things. I pulled out the old snow peas, letting those finish drying out so we can save those seeds to replant in the fall. We're about ready to, I've got so many bok choy seeds out there that I'm going to be saving. And then I trellised up the cucumbers and tomatoes are going crazy. And
I'm excited. The tomatoes look fabulous.
The tomatoes
'tis the season,
they are loaded
also
with fruit and they're getting heavy and they're growing faster than I can. Like I walk out there every day and still tonight I was out there and I was like, oh my gosh, how did it grow that much that I need? There's like 2 feet of plant that's not trellis, that's not like attached to the, anyways. So I worked on that and pulled out some stuff in the back. But I made an observation today that I just thought I would share with you. So we have some onions in the back that are being overgrown by grass just because of the
Is that the ones you showed me? They were gorgeous.
Beautiful onions.
Beautiful onions.
I went ahead and pulled a few of the big ones where some of the necks were starting to flop over. Like you're really supposed to wait till they're all flopped over and kind of yellowed.
Over,
and the first couple that I pulled, like I didn't even have to pull. They just let right go. Like the roots had already let go. Yeah. They were done. And then I went to the next one right beside it, but it hadn't quite flopped over yet. And I like broke the top of the onion trying to get it out of the ground.
Really?
So I'm like, maybe if I go and tug on the onion and it doesn't readily come out of the ground, it's not ready yet. And I should just leave it alone. So next time I won't pull so hard to break the tops off. Anyways, a few were ready, so I brought them in. We've got some potatoes we brought in. Anyways,
beautiful onions.
We've got some amazing stuff that we're eating. So y'all go to our YouTube video and check out the garden. And you did something very exciting today too.
I did, but before I get to that, I wanted to ask you a question. The other day, you brought home a ginormous onion.
Yes.
And we made it into onion rings.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to grow these onions. They're my favorite.
It was the sweetest, mildest onion. And at first when she cut it, it made these big rings and they were kind of thick. And I don't really like thick onion rings, right? Yeah. But when they fried, the moisture came out real quickly and they kind of shrank a little bit. They were tender and sweet and mild. Like it was the most phenomenal thing. So it's a
Walla Walla onion.
A Walla Walla onion. It's huge.
And it's like 6 to 8 inches.
Yeah, it's like
across.
cantaloupe sized almost.
Huge.
It's humongous.
And it was the best tasting onion.
Highly recommend, especially again for like onion rings or if you're going to eat it like raw. I don't really appreciate just a real mouthful of raw onion. I know some people do.
When this was not even pungent. It was
no, it wasn't.
Mild
it was so mild and
so
sweet. And so there's like 100 things that we would use it for because because it's not just like a kick in the mouth, like raw, fresh yellow onion or something. It's kind of sharp,
giant and delicious. And I really hope
super cool
that they have them again at the farmers market tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna buy some more.
I'm planning to buy some more, and it's on my list. So when I'm getting all of my starts for next year, we are planting a bunch of those onions.
We'll use those
they are
for
phenomenal.
Everything.
Walla Walla onions. If you haven't had them, you should look for them.
Yeah. So back to what I did today.
Yeah.
So we've had 2 pork bellies.
Yes.
Curing in the fridge outside.
For about a week, they've been curing.
And we finally smoked them off today. We've made bacon before, which is why we did 2 instead of 1 this time.
Because we realized 1 is
so
just
good.
not enough.
And it's phenomenal. It came out really good. I cooked ours to about 140, so you would not eat it as is, right? You need to continue cooking it.
Right.
But that's kind of a sweet spot where you get some of the qualities of that longer cook. The meat consistency changes a little bit, but you're not cooking it all the way out basically to 150. So anyway, it came out phenomenal. Nice smoke on it. I think we just used some hickory chips that we had, and so I'm excited. And again, if it comes out anything like last time, we just sliced it. So the advantage to doing your own bacon, if you're saying, well, I can buy bacon at the store, right? You have two options when you go to the store. You can buy the $5 to $6 a pound really crappy Walmart brand bacon. It's really thin like lunch meat, and it's mostly fat, and it disappears when you cook it. Or you can pay like $10 a pound, and
Or
you can
12
buy
or 14.
12 or 14, yeah, and you can buy like the thick cut right brand bacon that's much more substantial bacon. But the problem is you pay like $12 a pound. We paid $4 a pound for the pork bellies at Costco, I think.
Yeah, I think it was a little less than
maybe a little less,
close to that.
$3.89, something like that. So my price per pound, including the work and the seasonings and stuff, is really at or below the cheap bargain basement bacon. But the quality of what we're getting is
phenomenal.
At least like high-end bacon, right?
Oh, yeah.
And because when they sell you a pork belly, the pork bellies that they sell you tend to be more meaty because they don't want you to be buying a bunch of fat, right? They're trying to get a better product to you. So the fatty ones get turned into bacon. The meatier ones get sold. So I'm buying higher quality pork belly and turning it into cheap bacon that has the quality of high-end bacon. Yeah. So and we highly suggest you do it. It's not hard.
We can cut it to the thickness we want.
Salt and
we vacuum seal up little packages and
we just slice it all. We'll kind of chill it down real good till it firms up, and then slice all of it and bag it about a pound each or half pound. Play with the recipe a little bit to adjust the flavor. I adjusted the sugar down a little bit this time just to see how. Last time we made it was pretty sweet, and again it was phenomenal, but not like for breakfast purposes and stuff. I don't like a real sweet bacon. Yeah. Now again on a burger, it's it'd be fantastic, but. And again, you can package it half pound or pound, depending on the size of your family or how much bacon you like. But
so, needless to say, I'm pretty excited about breakfast tomorrow.
Yes.
So that brings us to our conversation for this episode. So I've heard some different people talking about it recently, and I realized like what they were saying rang really true with me and our experience this past year. Oh, yeah. So we're going to be talking about how much space you really need to grow food for your family.
How much land do you need?
What we thought before we moved here a year ago. We came just from our suburban neighborhood. What we were looking for, what we ended up with, and now that we've been here a year, like what our thoughts are on how much space you really need to grow food for your family. So I guess let's start like before we came here. We had some kind of specific things that we were looking for. And we were looking for something with much more acreage than we ended up with.
Yeah. Well, and in fairness, I think we had a fairly accurate view of what we wanted that to look like, right? Yeah. But land is cost prohibitive. I mean, let's be honest. Land is not cheap. And a lot of people, I think like us included, you end up with this balancing act of like, how nice is the house going to be versus how many acres am I going to have, right?
Well, and for us, a big key factor was how far away from civilization do I want to be? Like we could have gotten a property we looked at properties.
We could have gotten 4 times the property that we have.
40 acres even. But we would have been a couple hours from the airport in the middle of nowhere.
We would have been at least an hour from anywhere.
In a town with a population of less than 100 people. Yeah. With our kids and trying to connect and build community.
If you want a choice of grocery store, church, what you do on Friday nights, you need to be a little closer to town than that.
So we opted, instead of the 20 or 40 plus acre properties that we had kind of dreamed of, we found this place super close to town.
15 from the airport, 5 from Walmart.
Feel like we're in the middle of nowhere.
Feels like it's in the country, yeah.
Quiet road, not a lot of traffic, so we feel like we're in the middle of nowhere, but super close to everything that we want to get to. Yeah. Only 5 acres.
Yeah. And you say only 5.
Well, when we bought it, I was like, only 5 acres. And now that we've been here a year, I'm like,
thank God we don't have 20 acres.
Because what never really, I guess it was kind of in the back of our minds, but we didn't have a full grasp or understanding of it because we had never lived it yet, was how much time it takes.
The husbandry of that much
to actually manage 5 acres.
Yeah. I work full time, right? And so, and I don't have a $10,000 or an up tractor.
Right.
So for us, even the 5 acres that we have, like currently, our house and yard and infrastructure are on half an acre or so. We have a pond that's about a half an acre or so. So we're really only even working 4 acres. And
You
even
mean
and even that, we're not working 4 acres.
no?
We're right now until we have larger animals, and we'll get into that in a minute. But
No, we have acres of pasture that's just
yeah, we
grown
have
up that
multiple
gets
acres of
cut
pasture
into
that are just
hay
getting hay.
because we don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's the point, is that we had a lot of ideas about stuff that we would do, but the reality of tending and like husbanding that much property,
Right. Stewarding the space well.
if you work full time, I mean, she's at home, but she works from home. She works more than
Right.
full time. So if you don't have somebody whose full time job is to work that land, 5 acres is more than enough.
Oh yeah.
More than enough. Because
yeah.
even if we had all the animals that we've talked about to be on some of that land, taking care of them is additional task.
Oh yeah.
And even like right now, we're content to have our neighbor Ted come and hay 3 acres of it or so, because it just keeps it managed for us.
Right. Without us having to purchase an expensive tractor and all of the.
Right. And again, we have purpose for that. We're going to get a cow and a pig and a sheep and those kind of things. But until we have some of that in place, it would be a huge undertaking if we were trying to plant row crops, and we've talked about like that,
Well, and to keep it not just
not letting it go wild.
Like if you were here at our property and you could see it, at this time of year, the pastures have been growing since spring hit.
Oh yeah.
It hasn't been hayed yet because we've had so much rain. Nothing has dried out enough for them to come and hay. They planted to hay a few weeks ago, but they haven't been out. Yeah. So all of our pastures are at least chest high.
At least, yeah.
Some places are higher than that. And so we just kind of let that be, which is kind of problematic because in our area there's lots of ticks. And so we have to keep the dogs.
Get snakes, and
we have to keep the dogs in.
The coyotes can hide really well.
Because they just come in covered in ticks
and
all the other things that are out there. So yeah, it's a lot. And if I were to try to manage that myself with our current equipment,
it would be very difficult.
I would be out there pretty much every night.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have an animal lawnmower helping you out all the time.
Right.
And that's, I think, the point, kind of what we're talking about today, is that if you're wanting to get into, for lack of a better term, homesteading or whatever it is you want to call it, right?
Right. If you just have a desire to grow more of your own food because you know that the food at the store is making you sick.
Yeah.
Like
you can feed a family our size in a 1/4 acre yard. And this is something I told you I wanted to make sure and mention today. If you will let go of your lawn.
Oh yeah.
Right? Let go of this idea that your yard is this smooth grass place where you pretend like you go out and play croquet or something. That's a holdover from like colonial British, like that was like a flex for people to have grass. And it's just, I own this much land and I don't need it for anything except a lawn, right? You don't need a lawn. You need a bunch of raised beds.
Right.
Right. And so again, if you're on a 1/4 acre, you have a backyard to speak of, you can grow enough food in there to feed you.
When if you think of it more
really
as a cottage garden, like an English cottage garden, where you've got your flowers and your herbs and your veggies and everything's
and mix in.
Your fruit trees and everything is just kind of growing all together, and you can make it still be beautiful in all of its wildness at the heat of summer.
Yeah.
But it's productive.
It's productive, exactly. Grass does nothing for anyone.
Except for cows.
And so if you're letting cows eat your lawn, it's not going to look like a lawn.
Right.
Right. And so again, let go of that idea of I need a lawn.
Right.
Unless you're in an HOA, in which case I feel bad for you. But once you get past that, then you start seeing the opportunities like, hey, I can put beans over here and I can trellis tomatoes over here. And all of a sudden you have a lot of space for garden. Right. And then once you get past that, right, like once you're out of like a suburban yard size, like 1/4 acre, half acre.
Well, so let's stop for a second.
You want to back up? Okay.
So you can grow a lot in a little space.
Yeah.
And more land doesn't mean more food. So if like going back to some of the small suburban spaces we lived in, we could have given up more of the lawn.
Oh yeah.
And we could have had enough raised beds.
Oh yeah.
To raise most of the produce that we were eating. We have always planted fruit trees, even in those
Mhm.
suburban yards. We like the
Mhm.
trees and the berries. So
Mhm.
we've always done those things. But even in those small spaces, we've had chickens
Yeah, I was going to
and
say in
rabbits.
Missouri. I
So
mean, in Mississippi, we had
even in a small
dozens
suburban
of
lot,
chickens.
you can have chickens that are giving you eggs.
And
You can
rabbits.
have rabbits that they take up so little space. They grow so quickly. They reproduce so quickly. So you could have your own source of meat in your backyard, and you could have raised beds filling your yard
Yep.
front and back instead of a lawn. And
Yep.
just right there, even on a tiny suburban lot in a subdivision, you could be growing a whole lot of your food.
The majority of your food.
Yeah.
The other thing, we haven't even talked about like vertical gardening and
Oh yeah.
some of those other things. I mean, some people you can grow plants inside your apartment on a high rise in New York,
Mhm.
right? Some grow lights, some shelves. You got a window somewhere, park that sucker next to the window. You can grow food. But the question is, what does that look like, right? The way that you do that and what that looks like may have to change to
Right.
accommodate that, right?
And now that we're here, I feel like this 5 acres that we landed on really is kind of the sweet spot because
Yeah.
we have plenty of space for all of the fruit trees, all of the berries, all of the perennial things like the asparagus and stuff that I'm trying to grow. We have plenty of space for gardens for fresh produce and herbs.
Mhm.
We have ample space for not only the chickens and rabbits.
I was gonna say, we literally had over
over
100 birds at any given time.
But we also have space to add the pig and a few sheep and a beef. Now, we probably don't have enough space to have multiple cows. Like I probably couldn't have a beef and a dairy cow.
Right.
And sheep and the pig. Like eventually we would start taxing our land too much. But
right, because you
honestly,
can't
for where we are,
you can't be rotational
we
about it.
can, in the space that we have, if we manage it well, we can pretty much do all of the things that we want to do.
Well, and what you just listed there, I mean, like you said, we have enough land, and the cows is one of those things that we can't really speak on it yet because we haven't done it yet, right?
Mhm.
Like according to some sources, we should have plenty of land to do a beef and a dairy, right? Other people are like, maybe not, maybe one. So we'll see, right? We'll find out.
Well, and we might be able
because
to have
we're
them
going to rotate
both,
them, and that'll help.
but we probably wouldn't be able to have them both and be able to cut enough hay for the winter. Like we'd be buying hay.
Right. There would be a compromise somewhere.
For us, if we needed to buy hay, all of the fields around us also get cut.
And it's just getting sold.
We know the guy selling the hay. It's not expensive. And because he's not having to haul it anywhere, it's literally right here.
Yeah. So just so you know, we paid $30 per round bale for the hay that they cut on our property. I said, how much would you charge me to just leave one? And he was like, $30, I'll leave you a bale. So that's a great deal. We had 2 bales over the winter for bedding, food, and everything for all the small animals and birds.
Right.
We didn't use a bale. We didn't use half a bale.
Yeah.
And that's including the rabbits and all that stuff. So again, even adding a large animal into that equation, we would be fine, right? Right. And so again, if I had to buy a round bale, $50 maybe if they have to bring it from someone else's field next to me, because they literally could roll it over the fence, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so there are some trade-offs there that would be easy for us to make.
Right.
Right. So yes, okay, we're not going to cut our own hay, but also we can have a whole beef. Like that's a no-brainer.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah. So really the only advantage if we were to size up and have more than this 5 acres would be that we could have more head of cattle or more sheep, or we could increase the livestock. We also could increase like wild wooded area that we intentionally left wooded and wild.
And we've talked about that I think that's probably what we would end up doing, because we don't want to be cattle farmers.
No.
But what would be nice is having, again, 15, 20 acres of more or less wild woods behind our house where we could have space to hunt. You have some timber options coming out of there.
The timber out of there.
Firewood.
If you could have like some of the
silvopasture,
native nut trees and things where you could go and forage for
mushrooms.
Food that's just growing out
Yeah.
there for free that you don't have to tend to.
Yeah, and so again, it would not be farmed in the sense of like us super managing and working it per se.
Right.
It would be tended, right? We might cut some gator trails through there or clear some underbrush, make some kind of like silvopasture kind of space.
Yeah.
But it would require much less work from us than anything we're doing now.
Right.
And it would be more for like natural provision, like you said, foraging and things like that.
Yeah.
And just for exploring.
You're right.
Just to have woods.
It's just for the kids to run around. So all of that to say, I think my perspective has changed a lot in the last year of us being here. Yeah. Really, even just in the last few months, gardening in this experimental garden year.
Yeah, we're learning a lot.
So something that is kind of different that we experienced this when we lived in South Mississippi, but I forgot about it because we've been in South Texas for so long. So when we were in South Texas, the summers were so hot and so dry that we didn't really have to cut the grass very often because it was just fighting to survive.
It was barely alive.
Right?
Yeah.
I forgot that
grass
for
grows
most
like
places,
wildfire. Yeah.
grass grows like crazy in the summer because
Yes,
it's
it does.
warm and it's wet. And so I highly underestimated the vigor of our grass.
Yeah, and it grows great.
Not just for the yard. Like, honestly, I cut the yard, and a few days later, I'm like, oh my goodness, it doesn't even look like it's been cut. It looks like it needs to be cut again. But specifically in that garden area, the in-ground garden in the back, where we tilled things up, and the places where we have the weed barrier.
Where you thought you had killed the grass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We put weed barrier down, and where the plastic weed barrier is fine. We have another area where we put some paper and heavy wood mulch, and that's doing okay.
It's better, but it's not. It's hardly grass.
We have another area where we just tilled it and threw some wood chips down, and you can't even tell that we put wood chips down because it's just all overtaken by grass. So, definitely considering what that's going to look like as we start pulling things out and reclaiming that space as garden space.
Yeah.
I'm not going to underestimate the grass's potential. The other thing is our raised beds. I am constantly pulling grass out of our raised beds. And I cut that down to nothing before we put those beds in.
We burned it and covered it.
I put cardboard down. Yeah. I put wood chips. Then we put our compost in our soil. Yeah. And we put more wood chips on top. And still, the grass is just...
It's constant.
So vigorous. Yeah. And
some of that gets better, right? Every year as you're working and you're reducing the weed load, right? Just in the soil. That does get a little easier. But it's something to be aware of. That this is a battle you're going to fight. And that depends where you live, right?
I've heard multiple people talking about their gardens and what they have discovered. Well, a lot of them are downsizing gardens because they find they can be more productive in a smaller garden because it's less
they can manage it better.
Weed, it's less to feed, less to compost, less to keep your eyes on and manage. And so the things in there do significantly better because you're not spreading your resources so thin.
Yeah. And again, that's
does that mean I'm going to shrink our garden? Probably not.
It does not mean that. I already know that. It does not mean that.
But I am okay, how can I make this more manageable?
More efficient.
And knowing that we can grow a lot of the food that I'm trying to grow in a small space.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, it's about efficiency, right? Mm-hmm. Would we make more garden space next year? Probably not a significant amount. Just because I don't know that we need more space. We're growing a lot of things that we want to grow. Mm-hmm. The other thing is next year, some of the varieties that we grew this year, we're not going to grow again.
Right.
And so we will still have some experimental crops, right? Some new things. We'll bring in the Walla Wallas, onions, and things like that. But we'll have a better grasp of like how much we need of each thing.
Those things that we know are our favorites that
Yeah.
do well here
Yeah.
in this climate.
And we've already seen that even with the
yeah.
squash and things like that. So we'll grow more of the things that do well, that we want and that we like, and less experimental things that we don't. That will help, right? Because it helps you be more intentional about how that space is getting used.
Yeah.
The weed load starts to come down again after constant
because we're managing it.
and
Yeah. I mean,
cutting
it's been wild and unmanaged
for years and years.
and
We don't know
years.
how many years.
So it's going to take time.
Yeah.
But
we're getting, as we get better at it and as we get more focused, it becomes more manageable and it becomes less work, which then allows you to expand. So the point being, start small, right? Start with something that you absolutely can keep an absolute handle on.
Yeah.
And you'll have a much better result than if you try to go out and sow, an acre of corn in a field you've never worked before.
And I guess
you're going to have a hard time.
For me, the other thing is I remember having that suburban yard with small raised beds and watching other people who had these big dreamy gardens and just thinking like, oh, I
so
wish.
nice.
And one day, and honestly, now I'm looking back and I'm like, why didn't I just put in more raised beds?
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't have been a big deal. We could have done it and had more food. So if you're sitting back watching the rest of the world this garden season and all of the Instagram channels and YouTubers that are showing you their dreamy,
their acre
picture
gardens,
perfect gardens, and you're thinking, man, I wish I just had the space to do that. Stop looking at that and take a second to like evaluate what you have and where can you put a raised bed or a container or something that you can
green
grow
stalk,
food.
right? You can grow a bunch of food vertically. And you can help me remember what the name of the YouTube channel is, but there are several YouTube channels where people talk about how much they're growing in their space. The one girl we were watching the other day, she's making 6 figures and feeding her large family.
Whispering
on
Willow
like an acre?
Farms. You need to look up Whispering Willow Farms. She is not on a very big lot. So she actually lives in the house that Jess from Roots and Refuge, Jess and Maya used to live in that house. And that's the house they sold when they moved to Carolinas.
Okay, that makes sense.
So she's at their house, but they have massive amounts of gardens and it's not she's producing a ton of food.
Literally tons of food. Yeah.
A lot of hers is the strategies that she implements with succession
rotations
planting.
And succession.
She knows, she has learned over the years how long it takes to grow these things, what to plant, when to start the next one, so that she's got a constant stream of food coming in for the entire growing season. They do have like a greenhouse or high tunnel space so that she can start
Extend
sooner
season,
and end later. But ultimately, she doesn't have a giant space.
No. The other thing that she's done well is she's found alternate ways to generate revenue with her space. I know she talks about having people come in because they grow flowers, and people come in and do photo shoots in their flowers that they're growing. So she's getting paid there as well. So again, a lot of that just comes down to creativity. Like, how do you want to use that space? If you don't want anybody on your land, that's great, but you're not going to get paid $800 for a photo shoot from a photographer, right?
Right.
If you don't want to grow green stalks, you want everything in the ground, no raised beds, that's great. You're going to fight harder with the land. That's fine. Again, if that's what you choose, that works for you. But
and when you hear her talk about what she is growing, she has selected a very specific, like,
successful things. Yes.
These are the cucumbers I grow. And I grow these cucumbers because they are the most productive cucumbers that I have ever grown.
For my space.
They work here. They produce double or triple what the other varieties produce for me. So she's got her tried and trues that through trial and error, she's figured out what works, and that's what she keeps planting. And so that's what we're like fine tuning is, okay,
moving towards,
what does really well here for us? What struggled here? Is there another variety that we can grow? The other thing is she mentioned the other day, and I was like, ooh, I don't know if I could do that. She doesn't grow any kind of squashes at all.
Okay.
Because where they are, the pressure from all of the pests that come with squash.
They got a lot of squash bugs, right?
It's
I know several
crazy.
people in that region have mentioned that.
And so she's like, I can just go and get a bushel of squash from a local farmer, and then not have any
not
of
worry
that
about
on my
the pests.
property,
Well, and
so
that's
that
like the
those
trade-offs that we
pests
talked
aren't
about.
getting into my cucumbers and my tomatoes and my herbs and my other things.
Yeah, that's the trade-off that we talked about earlier. Again, for us, it doesn't make sense for me to leave my land wild and have hay grow. Like, I could get hay for nothing, for dirt cheap. I could trade literally a duck or two for a whole.
But beef is
years
really
of hay.
expensive.
But beef is $20 a pound.
And if we
for
could
steak.
feed our family some beef,
exactly,
that was eating our free pasture.
Exactly. Find your win, right?
Yeah.
Why would I conserve $100 worth of hay pasture,
right,
when I could have literally $3,000 worth of beef on the hoof, right?
And that,
so that doesn't make sense.
That brings me to kind of maybe my last point to kind of wrap up some stuff. There's this idea of being self-sufficient, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people are, maybe they think that they need that 20 acres or that 40 acres because they want to grow all of their animal
all the feed for the animals, or row crops, wheat and corn. Yeah.
Right. I can buy a 50-pound sack of wheat
for $28
for super cheap. And so I'm not going to plant wheat. I'm going to just buy the sack of wheat, and that's what we're going to use. I can go down and get chicken feed for pretty inexpensively, and the extra eggs that we produce
more than pays for that.
I'm selling those eggs. I've got a good place to sell those eggs every week, and so that pays for the feed.
Yeah.
If I had to choose between the dairy cow and the beef.
Oh, for sure.
We have found an amazing local dairy where we can get fresh raw milk.
Yes.
For $5.
And we don't have to milk a cow.
I don't have to milk a cow.
Yeah.
And dairy cows they go through the grass. They are hard on the pasture.
They consume pasture.
Where a beef is not. And again, I can get the milk. We don't use very much of it. And I can get it pretty inexpensively. Beef is pricey.
Beef is expensive.
So it makes much more sense for me to grow beef on the pasture that we do have and buy milk from the local farmer.
Yes.
So lean on
and good for them too.
Local people. We have all the Amish farms around us, so I can get bushels of green beans and things. If I don't have enough to can and put away the things that I want to, if basically all the green beans that come out of the garden we're eating fresh, and I have to buy bushels from the Amish farm,
well, so
it's fine.
Case in point. Our blueberry bushes got really heavily nibbled by deer over the winter.
Yes.
That was not something we were prepared for.
The deer and rabbits
are growing.
Nibbled my green beans.
They also nibbled your green beans. The strawberries are first-year plants, so we didn't have a huge production. But we have a phenomenal U-pick right down the road from us. Mm-hmm. When I tell you we picked 100 pounds plus of berries this year, I'm not kidding. We picked over 100 pounds of strawberries, blueberries, and blackberries, and probably would have picked more because we're just those kind of people. But the point is, we're not able yet.
Right.
We're not there yet. Our plants are not mature enough to provide that level of berry produce. But we have a great source for them. Their prices are very reasonable.
Oh, yeah.
It helps out our neighbors.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, find the wins, right? What works for you? If you grow the world's best green beans in your soil for whatever reason, and you just have our prolific green bean producer, then grow green beans.
Oh, yeah.
And then swap those to your neighbor for a couple of gallons of raw milk. Or, find what works for you and your space. And don't sweat those. Don't be so hung up on total self-sufficiency that you end up straining, working really hard for little return, right?
Right.
Get the 80% off the top that takes 20% of the work.
Right.
And let the rest go.
Well, and honestly, who we are, part of our core values is being connected to community.
Yeah.
Which means I do need help from my neighbor for this thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to share the extra of what I have with them. And they share the extra of what they have with me. So I don't have to grow everything. And that's okay. And I heard Jess from Roots and Refuge in one of her episodes that I just watched. She was commenting. She was making some pickled veggies. And she thought that she was going to have, for the first time ever, she was making like a pickled veggie mix. So she had some peppers and which she thought she was going to be able to use some cauliflower, which normally she doesn't have any left. But it ended up being too riddled with bugs. Anyways, long story short, she said she had somebody reach out to her in a comment feeling like they were cheating because they were trying to make this recipe and they had to go buy half of it from the local market
grocery, yeah.
because their garden, they didn't have all of the things in their garden.
Yeah.
And she was like, I do that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not cheating.
We don't grow everything we eat.
And
yeah.
she said, like, the further along this gardening journey we get, more and more of what I'm putting away is coming from my garden. But there's no shame in having to buy some
you got to fill in
that
the
somebody
gaps.
else grew. And it's not cheating, and it's okay.
And we live in America.
Mm-hmm.
There are more products available to us as Americans than most people would guess.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's literally hundreds of millions of various products. I think Walmart advertises that they have 500 million items for sale.
Gosh.
That's insane
That
to
is
me.
crazy.
But the point is that you can't grow every squash, every bean, every tomato, you can't do it. No farm is doing it.
Yeah.
You might grow your favorites, but you're not going to grow all of them. So don't try, right?
Yeah.
Just do what makes you happy. We're growing a buttload of tomatoes. That makes us happy. We're going to make sauce and salsa and canned, the whole 9 yards with the tomatoes. We're really good at that. Our corn has yet to be seen. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't.
We're going to have a little bit to taste.
We're going to have a little bit,
We're not going to, it's not
But
going to.
like the onions, they turn out great for us. The potatoes look promising. Next year, they'll probably be pretty good.
Yeah.
So things like that we're going to find our wins and run with it. And the things that we're just like, man, this really sucks. We're not in the right spot to grow, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, then don't waste your time, right?
Yeah.
Don't beat your head. Don't feel insufficient because you couldn't grow bananas on your Nebraska homestead, it's just not going to happen. So don't try. Don't waste your time, right? Do the wins. Get the wins.
So biggest encouragement is just, we've said it so many times, but don't wait. Start where you are. Do what you can. Use what you have.
Yes.
And
share with your neighbors.
You will be surprised how much you can do in a very small space that is well managed and taken care of.
Yeah. That's good advice.
Yeah.
That's good advice. And again, share with your neighbors.
Yeah.
If you get 3 beautiful tomatoes off your 1 beautiful tomato plant, call your next door neighbor and say, here's a tomato, because we're neighbors.
Yeah.
And my name is Thomas, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You might get something a little more valuable than your produce out of your garden this year. So
yeah.
It's good.
Awesome.
You got anything else for the kids?
I think that's it for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. Hopefully it has inspired you and encouraged you to just start where you are, use what you have, big or small.
Sorry. We'll catch you next time.
Subscribe now to Handmade Happiness so you never miss an episode, and let's find the joy in making one handmade moment at a time.